Hey viewers, it's Iram Ali here, immigration solicitor. Welcome to my channel, Immigration with Iram. Today's video is about visit visas to the UK. So if you are looking to come here on a visit, on a temporary basis, whether that is for sightseeing as a tourist or to visit family or for a business trip, to attend a conference or some training, then you can make an application to the UK Home Office for a visit visa for up to 6 months. So this video is going to explain the process, procedure, what the requirements are, and how you can navigate through the immigration rules for a visit. Now, before I start, it's really important to state, if you are looking to stay here for more than 6 months, then the visit visa category is not for you. You must return after being here for 6 months. Otherwise, you may become an overstayer in the UK, which would be detrimental to yourself. So let's dive straight in. So with regards to the application process, it's online. You submit an online application. You will then have the opportunity to upload supporting documentation, and you also have to attend a biometric enrolment appointment near you in your country. The questions are all related to yourself and what your circumstances are in your country of origin, the country that you are in, and it does ask you the purpose of your visit and what arrangements there are in the UK for you to come and attend. So first of all, the application asks you to explain what your circumstances are in your country, and this is the most important part of the application, because the Home Office want to determine whether or not it is likely that you will return after your visit. So they're looking for the links that you have with your own country. So they will consider things like your relationships, any assets that you own, your employment, or if you're retired, a pension. They want to know where your income is coming from. They want to know what your social affiliations are, any memberships, anything you do regularly. They want to know what your home circumstances are, whether you own a home. So if you're an owner-occupier, who else lives with you, what family relations you have in your country. Any business you might have, so you might be self-employed. So all of that shows the links that you have to your own country, and the onus is on you as the applicant to prove what links you have in your country. And there's more weight given to the applicant in what they evidence rather than the sponsor, and the sponsor is something that I'll come on to later in this video. So those are the main things that you would be expected to evidence in the application. Now, how do you evidence that? Each country has its own systems with regards to registration and documentation that they can get from an authority. So in Pakistan, for example, to evidence who your family members are, you can usually request a family registration card from the Union Council, and that will have the applicant on and his or her spouse and children, and it has images of the national ID cards on that registration card, which obviously discloses who the relatives are. So immediate family, your spouse and your children. And then if the children are married, they'll have their own FRCs. Yes, if my son is married, my son will have his own FRC with his spouse and any children if he has any. They also want to know what relatives you've got outside of your country. So again, if you have relatives in the UK, they want to know who they are and where they live. So it's a good idea to provide copies of their passports. If they don't have passports, they may have a driving license or equivalent, proof of where they live. So council tax statement is usually good, coupled with either a tenancy agreement or a mortgage statement, dependent on the ownership and the occupation of the property. And then alongside that, any other relatives that don't live in either your country of origin where you're applying from or the UK. So if they're living in, Dubai or America or in Europe, they want to know, the Home Office wants to know where other relatives are. In terms of immediate family, if there's extended family in the UK, then the application does ask, have you got any relatives in the UK? So they are expecting you to disclose all of your family members in the UK. And again, evidence that by copies of passports or if they're children, just giving details of who those children are, full names and perhaps dates of birth. The applicant, if the applicant is coming alone or with a spouse, it would be wise to provide the marriage certificate, or if the person is divorced, then the divorce certificate. If they're widowed, then a death certificate of the deceased partner. So again, you're evidencing what your personal circumstances are, with evidence of that as well. The second thing it will ask is about your income. So if you're self-employed and you've got your own business, then documentation to evidence that. If you are in paid employment, then a letter from the employer stating, that they're aware that you're making this visit visa application, how much leave they've granted, what your salary is, when you started that job, and the fact that the job will be secure for you when you return. If you receive a state pension or a private pension, any documentation with regards to that. And if you have any assets, property, land, you might derive an income from that land or property, then appropriate evidence with regards to that as well. The more authentic and credible the documentations are as supporting evidence, the more likely is that the Home Office will accept those documents being authentic and add weight to the application as well. Now, the most important document that you must send to the Home Office is a set of your bank statements. Now, 6 months is what they want to see. So the Home Office want to see your financial circumstances, and they will determine that from 6 months of bank statements. Now, if you've got a regular income coming in, which is evident from the bank statement, then you'll be asked to disclose that in the application. But if you've got additional money coming in, which perhaps isn't part of your regular income, they are one-off monies. So you might have borrowed some money from somebody, or you've taken a loan, or it's a gift from a relative, then you need to explain what those credits on the statement are. And if there's any evidence with regards to that, provide that also. So it might be a bank statement or a money transfer remittance slip from the person that has sent you the money. It's a good idea to provide that as well, because it just ties it all up and provides that trail of where the money has come from and what the money is for. There is no financial requirement for a visit visa. So you don't have to have a certain amount of money in your account for a visit visa. However, the Home Office do want to see what your financial circumstances are, and that is the purpose of asking for the bank statements. So please do not put huge sums of money in your account, which people I have found clients to have done that, putting huge sums of money in the account. That does nothing, because if that's not part of your income, why are you depositing a huge sum of money into your account? There's no requirement from the Home Office to have a certain amount of money in your account, so please don't do that. The question that needs to be answered with money in your account is the Home Office ask you in the application, who is paying for the trip? So for your visit, who's paying? What is the arrangement? So if you're paying yourself, then you need to have that amount of money in your account. So for example, you might have estimated that the trip is going to cost you about 1,200 British pounds, which will cover the fee of your flight, any transport to and from the airport, a bit of shopping when you come to the UK, or buying gifts from your country before you come here. So you might estimate that to come to about £1,200. So you then need to have that £1,200 in your account. The bank statement will evidence that, showing the Home Office that you've actually got the money in your account to pay for your trip. If your sponsor is paying for your trip, then they will need to provide a bank statement to evidence the money in their account. And lots of sponsors do pay for their trips because they're sponsoring their parents to come and visit, for example, or a sibling or an aunt. And a 1 month bank statement is sufficient to evidence that they do have that amount of money available to cover the cost of the trip. It doesn't matter if the sponsor is renting a property. It doesn't matter if the sponsor is unemployed. It doesn't matter what the sponsor's personal or financial circumstances are, as long as they can confirm that there is adequate space in their property to accommodate the visitor, and if they are paying for the trip, that they've got enough money to do so. Okay, it doesn't even matter if that person is claiming benefits, because they still need to show that the trip is paid for, there's money for that trip. Obviously, visitors are not allowed to claim any public benefits when they come to the UK anyway, so that they can't do that. But the Home Office do want to say that the cost of the trip is covered and that there will be no recourse to public funds with regards to that visa category. What else is there? Yeah, eligibility, suitability. They do ask for your immigration history. So if you've made applications to other countries in the world, including the UK, you've had successful applications and you've had visits, you need to disclose them. Any refusals, you need to disclose them. If you've been returned from the border, if you've had any overstaying, if you've been deported, anything to do with your immigration history that needs to be declared, you must declare it. If you don't declare it, you run the risk of the Home Office seeing that as a form of deception. And you don't want to go there, because the Home Office could easily ban you from making applications for 10 years if they deem that as an attempt to deceive the Home Office by withholding information. They also ask for your travel history for the last 10 years. So they want to know which countries you've gone to, what were the dates to and from, and the reason that you've gone. So you will be expected to disclose your travel history as well. Obviously, they're going to ask you if you've got a criminal record, any involvement with terrorism, all of those kind of questions, which you must answer honestly. And then other than that, they will ask what the purpose of your visit is. That's an obvious question. So if you're coming here just to spend some time with the family, just say you're coming here to spend time with the family. If you're coming here as a tourist and you just want to spend some time sightseeing, say that. If you are coming as a tourist and you don't have any link to anybody in the UK, you will be expected to show your accommodation arrangements. So you may have booked a hotel, or you've looked to book a hotel. The Home Office will want to see evidence of that arrangement. And they do ask, what else you'll do on the trip. So you might just be staying with family, do a bit of sightseeing, and that's all. They do ask what date you will travel to the UK. Obviously, that is dependent on whether or not you get a visa. So give a provisional date. Certainly, if you're taking time off from your employment, then that date will be that the employer's letter will need to confirm that date as well. However, it is a provisional date because it is dependent on whether or not you get a visa. But it is good to sort of look at the next month or two to forecast that in the future and give an approximate date and the duration of your stay. So some people may not want to or be able to or plan to come and stay here for the full 6 months. You might just be coming here for a couple of months or a couple of weeks. Say that in the application. And bear in mind that when you submit the application, you're then required to book a biometric enrolment appointment where you will give your passport in and your fingerprints. The applications of this nature take 3 weeks to process. So that is from the date of biometric enrolment. So your 3 weeks start from that time. Sometimes it can take more time. They do usually take the full 3 weeks, but sometimes the Home Office can take longer, depending on their investigation. And then once you've received the decision, if you are granted a visa, it takes a couple of days for the passport to be stamped with the vignette granting you the visa for entry, and you're granted 90 days to come to the UK. So if you're granted a visit visa, the Home Office will give you 90 days to come in and stay. I'm getting tongue-tied today. The Home Office will give you 90 days to travel to the UK, and then once you enter, your 6 months start from then. If you're refused, there is no appeal rights granted. So if the application is refused, you will not get a chance to appeal. I have looked into doing a judicial review for one particular client because the applications were repeatedly being refused, and the reasons were solely based on that the Home Office did not believe this person's going to go back. The person actually wanted to come here for work related reasons, but a very, very unique case. However, in the main and in general, there's no appeal rights, and you can just simply submit a fresh application. There is no time frame in which you have to submit a fresh application, or there is no minimum time that you have to wait before submitting an application. So if the application is refused, you can just submit it. Literally, you can submit it the next day. Okay, so there's no stipulation there. And obviously you'll need to mention the refusal in a fresh application, because it does ask, have you ever had an application to the UK refused? And that's it in a nutshell. The fee is currently £115. This is January 2025. But do obviously check gov.uk for what the fees are before you submit the application, just to make sure you have the amount the payment is made online also. Some appointment centres for the biometric enrolment charge a fee, but usually you can get a free appointment. Some centres like Mirpur in Pakistan charge a fee to use the centre, and then you may pay for the appointment as well. But generally, usually you can get a free appointment, so at least you don't have to pay any money to have your fingerprints taken. And that's about it. The thing to remember is that the onus is on the applicant to prove that they will return to their home country once their visit is up. So they need to provide as much evidence as possible with regards to the links that they have in their own country. That's the crux of the matter. The whole application is geared towards evidencing that. The sponsor is secondary in that respect. But you need to evidence who the sponsor is, so copy of their passport, like I said, their accommodation evidence. If they're married with children, then again, spouse's passport, children's passports or birth certificates. So whatever the circumstances are, it is sensible to evidence that with documentation that is authentic and credible. Okay, so I hope I've given you an insight to help you navigate your way through a visit visa application. As always, if you would like to instruct me, you'll find my details in my description. But other than that, and until I see you in the next video, take very good care of yourselves, and goodbye.